5 people, 5 cars, all left behind, doors locked, keys inside, sometimes even the engine still running, but the driver's gone without a trace. Today we're diving into 5 chilling cases where people vanished but their vehicles didn't. What happened to them? And why were their cars left behind like eerie breadcrumbs on a trail to nowhere?
Bring them
Mara Murray, born May 4, 1982, is an American woman who disappeared on the evening of February 9, 2004, after a car crash on Route 112 near Woodsville, New Hampshire, a village in the town of Haverhill. Her whereabouts remain unknown. Murray was a 21-year-old nursing student completing her junior year at the University of Massachusetts Amherst at the time of her disappearance. On the afternoon of Monday, February 9th, before she left the UMass Amherst campus, Murray emailed her professors and work supervisor, writing that she was taking a week off due to a death in the family. According to her family, no such death had taken place. At 7:27 p.m., a local woman reported a car accident on a sharp corner of Route 112 adjacent to her home. A passing motorist who also lived nearby stopped at the scene and asked the woman driving the car if she needed assistance. She declined, claiming to have called roadside assistance. Upon arriving home, several minutes later, the motorist reported the accident to emergency services. At 7:46 p.m., law enforcement arrived at the scene, but the woman was gone. Police traced the vehicle to Murray and initially treated her as a missing person on the belief that she may have wanted to disappear voluntarily. This speculation was based on her travel preparations. She packed some of her belongings but did not confide any information about traveling to her friends or family, and there no obvious evidence of foul play. In 2009, Murray's case was given to New Hampshire's Cold Case Division, and authorities are handling it as a suspicious missing persons case. In the years after Murray's disappearance, her case would receive media attention on TV programs such as 2020 and Disappeared, and also garner significant speculation on internet message boards and forums, with theories ranging from abduction to voluntary disappearance. In 2017, the case was the subject of a documentary series on the Oxygen Network, which described Murray's disappearance as the first crime mystery of the social media age, having occurred days after the launch of Facebook. If you have any information about the whereabouts or disappearance of Mara Murray, please contact the detectives assigned. It was just after midnight, May 14, 2008. 19-year-old Brandon Swanson had just celebrated the end of spring semester with friends. He got in his car, started heading home through the quiet back roads of rural Minnesota, and vanished. Brandon was a smart, independent college student from Marshall, Minnesota. That night, he left the Canby campus of Minnesota West Community and Technical College, alone but in good spirits. But somewhere along the dark stretch of gravel roads, something went wrong. He drove his car into a ditch. Not hurt, not panicked. He called the first people any college kid would, his parents. "Don't worry," he told them. "I'm fine. I just need a ride." He said he was near a small town called Lind, so his parents jumped in their car and started driving, headlights cutting through the darkness. But when they got there, there was no sign of Brandon. Not his car, not him, nothing. Brandon stayed on the phone with his father the whole time for 47 minutes. He sounded calm, a little frustrated, but never scared until suddenly his voice cut through the line, "Oh shit." And then silence. That was the last anyone ever heard from Brandon Swanson. In the morning, his parents reported him missing, but police told them not to worry. Young men his age disappear for a night all the time, they said. But this wasn't just some wild night out. Brandon hadn't run off. He had vanished into the darkness. Mid-call and mid-sentence. Things got even stranger when his phone records came in. Brandon hadn't been near Lind at all. He was calling from close to a town called Porter, 25 miles away, in the opposite direction. Searchers soon found his car near a town called Taunton by the Yellow Medicine River. The car was abandoned and there was no sign of Brandon. No footprints, no evidence of a struggle, just nothing. Some believe he may have fallen into the river that night. Others fear something more sinister happened. Despite exhaustive land and water searches, including the help of dogs, Brandon has never been found. Haunted by the slow police response, Brandon's parents fought for change, and they succeeded. Brandon's law was passed in Minnesota, requiring law enforcement to begin investigations immediately, even for adults. But the question still lingers like fog over those empty fields. What happened to Brandon Swanson that night? A bright young man, a phone call cut short, and a mystery that has never been solved. If you have any information about the disappearance of Brandon Swanson, contact the authorities. His story deserves an ending. I'm too tired to drive. I'm just going to pull over and get some sleep. Those were the last words Bryce Laspisa said to his mother, and then he vanished. August 30th, 2013, in the quiet hours just before dawn, California Highway Patrol officers came across a wrecked vehicle near Castaic Lake just outside of Los Angeles. The back window was smashed, the engine still warm. Inside, a phone, a laptop, a wallet, but no driver. The car belonged to Bryce Laspisa, a college student on his way home to Laguna Niguel, 100 miles south. And what happened in the hours leading up to that crash would unfold into one of the strangest missing person cases in modern history. Back in Laguna Niguel, Bryce's parents, Michael and Karen Laspisa, were expecting their son to walk through the front door any minute. Instead, a knock came, but it wasn't Bryce. It was the California Highway Patrol. They had found his car wrecked and abandoned, and Bryce was gone. The day before, the signs had already started. At 11 a.m. on August 29th, Bryce's parents got a strange alert. Someone had used their roadside assistance. Bryce had run out of gas on his way home from Sierra College near Sacramento. A nearby gas station owner delivered fuel to him. Problem solved. But something was off. 2 hours passed and Bryce still hadn't moved. Worried, his parents called the gas station owner again and asked if he could check in. He found Bryce still sitting there. Same spot, same car, engine off. The station owner encouraged him to get moving. Bryce agreed, but he didn't go far. Police would later track his phone just a few miles down the road. Officers made contact with him, found no drugs, no alcohol. He was calm, coherent, even polite. He called his parents, told them he was on his way. Finally, Bryce was back on Interstate 5, heading home. Then, at 2:08 a.m., Bryce called his mom one last time. He said he was pulling off the road to sleep. Surveillance footage showed his car exiting the highway just 15 minutes later, turning onto an access road near Castaic Lake. That's where the trail ends. Search crews scoured the lake. Divers plunged into the dark, cold water. Police dogs followed Bryce's scent across a nearby bridge to a truck stop, and then nothing. No body, no clothing, not a single clue as to where he went or why. It's been years since that phone call, years since the wrecked car was found with his belongings still inside, years since Bryce Laspisa vanished into the California night. Some believe he may have walked away to start a new life. Others fear something far darker happened that morning. But one thing is certain, whatever happened to Bryce, it left no trace. If you have any information you believe would be helpful to solving this case, please reach out to authorities. Any tip could potentially lead to bringing Bryce home to his family. May 19th, 2016. It was just another morning in Tumwater, Washington. Logan Shendelman, only 19 years old, shared a quiet breakfast conversation with his grandmother. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. He left for work. She went about her day, and neither of them knew it would be the last time they'd ever see each other. The next day, May 20th, Logan's car was found abandoned on the side of Interstate 5 near Rochester, 20 miles from home. Inside the Chrysler Sebring were his wallet, his driver's license, and his cell phone, everything but Logan. According to one witness, the car had been seen swerving across multiple lanes before slamming into the center median. That witness reported seeing a tall white man jump out of the passenger side and vanish into the woods. But Logan, a mixed-race young man with no known passengers, was nowhere to be seen. Search teams combed the dense forest for hours. Cadaver dogs, trackers, volunteers, no footprints, no clothing, no sign of a struggle. Logan Shendelman had disappeared without a trace. Later that day, another witness came forward. She claimed to have seen Logan earlier that morning standing outside his car on the highway, but he wasn't alone. She said he was accompanied by two white men. A sketch was made of one of them, but no names, no suspects, no explanations. Logan's story is more than just a headline. He was a gifted athlete, a thoughtful young man. After spending a year at Washington State University, he returned home to find his footing, working odd jobs and living with his grandmother and half sister. But in the days leading up to his disappearance, something changed. His family says he seemed distant, contemplative, like something was weighing on him. Was Logan in trouble? Was he being followed? Or did something more tragic unfold on that lonely stretch of road? To this day, the woods along I-5 hold tight to their secrets. And the face in that sketch, the man no one can identify, still haunts those searching for answers. Logan didn't just vanish. Someone knows what happened, and it's time to bring him home. If you know anything about Logan's whereabouts, please reach out to the authorities. He is deeply loved and profoundly missed. In the unforgiving heat of the Arizona desert, a young man vanished without a trace. No struggle, no sound, just a single Jeep abandoned in the sand. This is the story of Daniel Robinson. Daniel Robinson was a 24-year-old geologist, brilliant, reserved, and curious about the world around him. He was born without his right forearm, but never let that slow him down. In June of 2021, Daniel was working for an engineering firm collecting groundwater samples at a remote site just outside Buckeye, Arizona. June 23rd started like any other. Daniel arrived at the job site around 9 a.m. A light rain began to fall, but then something shifted. One of Daniel's co-workers say Daniel began staring off into the desert, silent, distracted, asking strange questions. 15 minutes later, without explanation, he got into his Jeep and drove off into the unknown. That would be the last time anyone saw Daniel Robinson. He didn't just walk away. Something happened out there, says David Robinson, Daniel's father. Search teams scoured the desert. A helicopter circled, his phone silent, GPS dead, not a single sign until nearly a month later. On July 19th, a rancher found Daniel's Jeep flipped on its side in a remote ravine just a few miles from the original job site, but it didn't make sense. Daniel's clothes were on the ground nearby. His boots, jeans, safety vest, his wallet, phone, and keys were still inside the Jeep. No footprints, no blood, no signs he ever walked away. Private investigator Jeff McGrath analyzed the crash, and what he found was chilling. The car's black box showed that the airbag deployed 4 hours after Daniel left the site. It drove 11 miles after the airbags went off and had been turned on 46 times after the crash. McGrath concluded it wasn't just an accident, it was staged. In the weeks leading up to his disappearance, Daniel's behavior had changed. He became withdrawn, spiritual, somewhat erratic. He was saying cryptic things to friends. He texted a woman he'd met delivering groceries saying he loved her. She asked him to stop contacting her, all things out of ordinary for Daniel. The night before he vanished, he took a bus to a Waffle House. Even though he had a perfectly working car, surveillance footage showed him acting off. Then nothing. Remains have been found in the area. Bones, a skull, but they have been determined to not belong to Daniel Robinson. Today, Daniel's father continues the search himself. He's organized dozens of volunteer efforts, combing the desert month after month, fueled by faith, grief, and questions no one has answered. Did Daniel Robinson walk away from his life, or was that life taken from him? There can be no peace for Daniel's family until he is brought home. His father's unwavering search will never end. If you carry even the smallest piece of truth, we urge you to come forward. Thank you for watching my coverage of these cases. Please help get more eyes on missing persons cases by liking this video, and if you want to see more, please subscribe. Please stay safe and stay alert. Bye-bye.